Yeah. Maybe Papa will do that with you.
How do you surprise?
You did that and it was funny. I finished 2 more of my 5 project goal. Wanted to finish off 5 things that I have been avoiding doing. So this one shouldn't really count. I just wove an ends, but I counted it anyway, just like a little dish scrubber. This washcloth was just the purple, and I ran out of yarn and it wasn't quite square. So I made it more square, did a border and all around, and it's not quite square, it's a little bit more rectangular, but I think it's cute. And now I'm going to use more of this yellow yarn and this yarn. I'm going to do a stripe of this in the middle and then yellow on both sides, so it'll be 3 colors just striped. To use up the last of this, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to use this green variegated. This is a baby booty I made, but I didn't have enough yarn to make another one, so it's just been sitting. So I need to unravel that and make something, but I just have brown, white, and this, and the white is quite thinner. So we'll see if I can use that up. Technically, I am only just 1 away from my goal, though. I didn't have enough of this yellow. You can probably tell this side's a little bit narrower than this one. I ran out about right there. See? 3 stitches left to do. I'm like, that's alright. I'll do a border of brown. But so the brown doesn't look like it's going into the yellow, and it leaves a nice line. I did a single crochet row and then a scallop on the edge, which, as you can see, went around 3 edges and not the last. But at least it ended at a corner, I guess. Like, technically I could have gone a bit further, but only like 3 or 4 more scallops because I checked. So I will just wind that in. And I have used up almost all my cotton yarn, so I mean, I guess I can't complain too much.
So I had great plans for today. I planned on like getting up early, getting a lot done, but then I didn't feel too good today. And so basically I got up early, ate breakfast, and then just crafted and listened to, I was listening to the book of Genesis. I didn't get quite through it, but I got really far into it, so farther than I expected, almost done with the book of Genesis. And did a ton of crocheting, so I guess it's not a total fail, but it was just like not at all what I thought today was going to look like. So this is kind of my finished pile. I finished 6 or 7 depending on how they're counted. 2 of them though I already misplaced. I'm pretty sure I put them on the table downstairs, but they cleared off that table, so when I went to go get them, they're gone. So if I'm remembering right, one of the kids moved them, but they're all in bed now, so I'll have to see tomorrow. But in addition to the jumpsuit and baby vest, which by the way I made that baby vest for I made it right after I found out that Mom was pregnant with Azariah, and he will be 3 in September. I made it in like June, 3 years ago. In June I made that, and then I was like, oh, I don't have any buttons, and we had like no buttons in the house at all. So I was like, I'll just buy some. I have plenty of time. Well, by the time I remembered and was going to go do it, he had outgrown it. So then I was like, no hurry now. He's already outgrown it. So now 3 years later, I wove in all the ends and sewed on buttons. So that's nice to get out of the way. The other one is a much more recent project. I made it this year in the last few months. Definitely the last 6 months, but I'm not exactly sure when. Then next I finished off that washcloth I showed you before, where I ran out of yarn. Finished that. I made this cute, I'll take a better video of this tomorrow. But it's a brown and yellow dishcloth, and I was so worried because I ran out of yarn, like I said right there. I already explained all that, never mind. I thought I had it, said it. Anyway, that used all of the yellow and all of the brown that was left over, so that was nice. Then I had that baby booty that I showed you, where I had ran out of yarn to make another one. And so I made this cute round washcloth, and it could also go underneath like a warm pan too. And then the last thing I made, which is one of my favorites surprisingly, I don't know, something about this shape with the fabric and the little ruffle. It was really cute. This one I didn't quite have enough, but you honestly cannot tell because it's so variegated. You can kind of tell once you know it, but I ran out of variegated yarn when doing the scallop, and I had done that side, that one over there was out. So I did white, which now you can kind of see, but probably once I start saying that. So that one is done, and I have used up all of the cotton yarn in my stash except for this little piece, odd piece. I made a baby bonnet out of this a few years ago, and it was super nice. I made a couple, actually 3 or 4, but I knew I didn't have enough to make one more, so not sure what I'm gonna do this one because it's a pretty thin lightweight yarn, 100% cotton. Not really sure what I'm gonna do with that because it's not sturdy enough really for dishcloths, and I don't want to mix it with another yarn. I don't know. We will see what I do with that. But I'm excited. I just got rid of, first of all, this is the first like crafting streak I've had in a while. By while I mean like the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. After I finished my Favo, I kind of felt lost and I didn't really know what to knit. So I started knitting a Veggie Patch cardigan and really lost steam with that. And I don't know if it's because I did the Veggie Patch cardigan, which I've made several of, or if I'm just done with knitting for now. But today, for the first time in years, like 2 years or so, I felt like crocheting. So I did, and I'm happy with that because I used up a lot of the yarn that I didn't really know what to make. Because at the time, when I started knitting and I wasn't doing a lot of crocheting again, I didn't want to make washcloths because that's what like everyone makes, and I had made a lot of them and I was sick of washcloths. But now that I haven't crocheted in a few years, making washcloths is really fun, and now I have all these that I can put in my hope chest. I made all of my washcloths about 7.5 inches because a few years ago I won a giveaway, and in that was like 1 or 2 green washcloths that were 7 inches or so square, and I wanted to be slightly larger than that, but not so much that they can't be neatly folded and put together in a drawer. So I went with 7.5 inches. That way that one won't look out of place in a drawer full of crocheted washcloths. And I forgot to mention, this is moss stitch. This is just single crochet with a 2 chain stitch ruffle thingy. I about said ribbing. That's not ribbing. And it's a 2 chain scallop thingy on the other one as well. And this one, all of these I made at my own pattern board. This one I just knit in the round, making an increase whenever I felt like I should, until the end. So yeah, and nice. Thankfully, I was gonna say coincidentally, which I guess is the proper word, but I didn't say it. These ended up being pretty close to the same size, and it is now like 11 o'clock because when you are crafting, time gets away from you, and even when you're used to going to bed early, sometimes you don't. So yeah, I made these with a small hook too, by the way. It was like a, let me look, now where did I put my needle? Here it is, 3.5 millimeter. There is no US sizing on this, but it is okay. Also, I started measuring with inches because I'm like, I'm doing crochet, I'll do inches, and because I feel like I never measure with inches anymore. And very quickly I went to centimeters because I had to divide it by 3 to figure out how to do the stripes, and then I just stuck with centimeters again. So that's where we're at. And now I gotta clear off all these boxes on my bed because I put them all here to get my tote that had this stuff in it. And then I'm gonna go to bed.
Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. Ohio.
What did you want to say?
Are you videoing that for the YouTube channel?
Yeah? What did you want to say first?
Yeah. Hi. Hi, me.
It's kind of a dirty table, but we won't eat food on it. Just leave it upside down.
I I got one. Those are super bleh.
We are back at the cabin, back at the new property, and I was totally making a little video. I'm holding my niece Leah. She's sleepy, and man, it just feels so good to be back here again. I cannot wait to move here. I have a beautiful view here from the window, and I was just thinking how grateful I am to that we could move here and that we found this place. And it felt like for a while we weren't going to find another farm. And I wondered if we did find a farm, if it was just going to be like a plot of land with nothing on it. And while this doesn't have everything we need, it has a ton of potential. Well, it has everything we need, but I mean like everything we'd like. It didn't have a house built, but we were able to get these cabins built really quickly. We were able to get all the things we needed to live here, pretty much. We can't move everything over here yet because we need to find a place to store it, and an environment that will have controlled humidity and stuff, because we don't want tools to rust and stuff. But it is a pretty perfect property, and honestly the fact that it doesn't have a house is actually more attractive because we are a large family and we cook most of our meals. We have almost always cooked from scratch, but we've started cooking more and more things from scratch over the years, and then we've also gotten more and more into eating like organic foods and just cutting out as many chemicals and as much processed foods as possible. So as our family has grown and as we've gotten more strict with what we include in our diet, it has become not absolutely necessary, because I feel like you really can get away with very few things in a kitchen or in a home. But it has gotten to the point where I would say it's almost necessary for us to have a better space. Kitchens that are in homes are not built for families of 10, 12, or like 16 people as we have on the property right now. They're not built for that. And they're not built for making 3 meals a day for that many people. Or even a meal or 2 a day for that many people. So, and a lot of kitchens that we've had are very dark as well. Like kind of out of the way in a corner. And they're not made for entertaining or being a part of the household while cooking, because they're not meant to be used all the time. And then with that, we also buy everything in bulk. So we needed either a pantry or a kitchen that had pantry-like storage, because cabinets do not fit 5-gallon buckets or other things. Like, they just aren't very accessible for that kind of storage. And a lot of people, I'm kind of going all over the place, but I feel like talking, so I guess that's how it is. I hear a lot of people say, oh, they used to live in one-room cabins and stuff, and I was always like, that made me feel a little bit guilty that we wanted a big kitchen and a pantry and all these things. And then I was like, wait a second. And I started really looking into it. And yes, they lived in one-room cabins, but they kind of did what we're doing. Their beds were in there, and sometimes they had like a cook stove and stuff in there. But often those were temporary dwellings, like a sod house, while they waited to build their bigger house. Or just things that allowed them to get on the property, kind of like what we needed to do. We needed to get on the property so we could start working. And then they would build root cellars, pantries, barns, other places where things would be stored. Like, they didn't store all of their wheat in their house. They stored it in a barn or in a silo. That kind of idea, you know? It wasn't all stored in the house. And I think that's something we kind of forget. It's easy. I'm someone that I always have the mindset, well, someone else has it worse, which means that I can't
I have to be content with what I have because there's always someone that has it worse. That's kind of like always my thought. So then I feel bad if I have big dreams and ideas of things, because then I'm like, no, it's okay. I need to just be content with where I'm at. And I think it's a balance. It's okay to want to improve yourself and your family and your methods, your daily life. That's normal and natural, and I think very important. And I think a lot of problems happen when you don't have visions and goals. It's not good for your heart, your mind, your soul. It's not good for your environment, and you're not going to grow if you don't try to grow. But also, learning to be content with where you're at in life and financially is also very important. And if you're always just content, nothing will ever be enough. So I feel like you need to have a balance. And I think, honestly, I feel like I'm pretty good at that right now. Like, not to boast, but I feel like it's so new and exciting right now that I can't help but just be happy. Like, yes, I cannot wait to put in gardens. I cannot wait to get a cow and dogs and all that. It makes me so excited. But at the same time, honestly, just having my family near me and now my sister and her kids with me is such a beautiful gift. And I am so almost deliriously happy with this right now. Because for years, I have wanted to move back on a farm. I wanted to do it in a better, more organized way, not so last minute like last time, with proper fencing and a proper setup. And I really wanted to live near my sister. It's something we've wanted for years, and we had so many ideas and they would fall through. We'd almost buy a property and it would fall through. We'd almost, she had a few times where we thought they were going to be moving right beside us, and then it fell through, and it was discouraging a little bit. But now I'm like, of course, this is why it couldn't happen. Like, it worked out so perfectly. When we bought this farm, when her lease was up, all of it was just perfect timing. And I think that we've all done a lot of growing. A lot of us had really bad health as well. And I think that it would have been pretty overwhelming if we had gotten a farm and gotten everything again, even if we did have the proper fencing and setups in place. And while our health is not perfect now, we've learned a lot, and we've worked on it, and we've improved it. And honestly, we did need a break from the farm. It was exhausting. And not having to get up every single morning to do chores, and not having to make sure that you're back at a certain time every night to do chores, and figuring out all that, it was really nice. And it's a bit loud here. I don't know how much of that's coming on the camera, but they're moving trucks and kids are playing and whatever. And I think we all kind of know that there's a time for everything, but sometimes we don't really believe that. We know it, but we don't believe it. And we think, yeah, that's true, but in this area, I'm right. It's the time now. And I just think of so many times where we could have pushed it. We could have put ourselves on a farm and a property. But now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, there was... There's been a few times we could have put ourselves onto a farm. We could have forced it. But for so many reasons, it wouldn't have been the best. The property was not... None of the properties we've looked at have been this good. None of them have been in as good of an area. And I think... It's crazy. She's sleepy. I don't know. I guess I don't really have a conclusion to all that. It's just
enough to get this property.
Yeah. And there's not really any conclusion I have to that. It's just thoughts have been thunking. And I'm just really, really happy to be here and to be near family. And I'm a very list, goals-oriented person. I can feel pretty content as long as I know there's a goal in mind and that
I am actively working towards that. And that has its good points and its bad points, but to have a plan and be working towards it right now, and to have a lot of the things that I've been wanting around me is really nice. But I think it's also important to remember that just because it's important that once we get what we want, that we don't allow that to make us discontent and just be hoping for the next thing, while at the same time still working to improve things and to work towards a goal, because I do believe that goals are very important. And I don't agree with the whole mindset of like, I think some people can take slow living and that sort of thing too far to where they don't really have any goals and they aren't really working towards anything as a family or as a group. And if you do that, then you're just damaging your family if it's for too long of a time. There is a time for rest, and there's a time for work, and a time to be working towards goals. And if you're not working towards a goal, you're just growing stagnant, and that's not helpful. And your goal can be better health. Your goal can be improving the home. It can be improving the property. It can be growing closer relationships. But if you don't have some kind of goal in mind, you're going to allow yourself to get lazy. You're going to allow yourself to just grow discontent. And I think that's my struggle, is when I have a goal, I just want to be ticking off all the boxes to get there. And I love that. It's like, it gives me a big adrenaline rush, and I just love seeing the progress. But sometimes I can get discouraged and be like, oh, well, I need to be getting more of this done. I need to be working harder. And if I don't feel like I've been working enough, and then I start thinking, oh, I'm just too lazy, I need to get busy, and and sometimes that's true, but other times you need to just sit back and wait, because it's not the right time yet. And I like to analyze things so much that sometimes I feel like I've got it all figured out, because I'm like, well, I've been thinking about this for so long. I've been writing out all my plans. I've been making all my list that it's got to be right. I couldn't have overthought anything. I couldn't have underthought out something. That's what I meant. But sometimes that's not true, because we are human and we do make mistakes. And sometimes it's not a problem with us even. But I've learned sometimes, because sometimes I've tried to analyze my thoughts, my purpose and things, and then I'm like, well, I don't see anything wrong here. Why can't this thing happen? And then later I'm like, oh, that wasn't my problem. That was something that someone else needed to do, or something else needed to happen for this to work. And other times it is myself that needed to improve in something. So hopefully that any of that made sense. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to show you the view from this window because it's gorgeous. There's the creek down there. So pretty. It's so pretty.
I found them up there, up where the stairs are.
Yeah. Oh, you dropped a few. Inside of a cherry limeade, I have, this is just over a pint. What is this, 16 ounce? These cups?
Yes.
So a 16-ounce cup, and I did about a third of a cup of cherry juice, 1 lime, and about half teaspoon of maple syrup. Add some ice. You could also add a pinch of salt to make this even more hydrating. I just don't feel like it today. Or you know what? The salt shake is right there. I'll just do it. You don't add too much. You don't want it to be salty. But a little bit of salt for some minerals and hydration.
So I'm going to make a chocolate cherry ice cream. Really hot. Basically everyone's inside in the cabins where it's cooler, with the exception of the guys who are doing some work and the little boys. But I've just been making up our own recipes for the ice cream makers and everything else. So I've got 9 eggs, might do more, but for now it's 9 eggs. I'm gonna bowl. Add some sugar, some vanilla, added some collagen, trying to shut off because it's too hot. But I added the milk and mixed it again, and now I'm gonna put this in the ice cream maker, and then I will add the cherries and that chopped up chocolate. What are you watching, Haya?
Watching Dad.
It looks so much more open here. It'll be so nice. Except they're about to fill it up. Can you say hi, Lyndon? Say hi! What's Papa doing?
Here's the mud.
He's scraping up the mud? That is the wagon. They were getting water. Look. Now you can wave again.